repeating the same pattern over and over again. Deny protected status to all those that international law were enacted to protect, notably civilians, including children and humanitarians. Deny humanitarian aid, including the most vital for the survival of the population. Destroy all civilian infrastructure and all conditions of life. Displace the population over and over and over again, while making sure they have nowhere to go and that anywhere and everywhere they go, they are not safe. Kill at will and explain that it is never your fault. Madam President, look at what Israel did with UNIFIL. We told you to leave. If you stay, you can be attacked. Outrageous argument, and yet that is what happened repeatedly. And that is what the Israeli Prime Minister and war criminal said himself. So if they can use this argument against a UN force deployed and mandated by this council, what chance do Palestinian and now Lebanese civilians stand when faced with the same logic? Leave or turn into a legitimate military target. Leave or die, and very often leave and die. Israel has declared an all-out war against the Palestinian people, and its attacks against the UN are an integral part of this war. To destroy the conditions of life in Gaza, Israel needs to make sure no one can help restore them, even minimally. Israel's attack against UNRWA is part of its assault against the Palestine refugees it serves and the Palestinian civilian population it is trying to help survive. It is genocide. Cold-blooded, planned, and executed genocide for the perpetrators. Burning, terrifying, harrowing genocide for the victims. What is happening in northern Gaza now is another level of monstrosity. Silence and inaction are not an option. Are you ready to proclaim that while Palestinians refuse to surrender, even when faced with collective capital punishment, this council decided to surrender? We know that many members around this table refuse to do so, and we count on them today to fight back with the tools provided by the Charter and by the law to combat those who are obliterating the Charter and the law. This is the responsibility of the Council and of each and every state around the world. The matter is straightforward, plain and simple. The massacres have to stop. Cease fire now. No delay and no condition. And life-saving assistance must immediately reach the civilian population in Gaza, notably northern Gaza. No delay and no excuses. The measure of our success is the lives we save. Madam President, you all see the bombardments and the destruction, the famine, and the denial of humanitarian aid, while Israel explains it is upholding the principles of distinction and proportionality and showing photos of trucks entering Gaza. Absurdity meets inhumanity. By you all know Israel is committing war crimes and crimes against humanity. By now, you are witnesses of the genocide, whether you recognize it yet or will recognize it later. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Let me be clear. A member of these United Nations that has committed such egregious, repeated, and prolonged breaches of its charter, that has committed such atrocities, and that has attacked the UN, declaring the Secretary General persona non grata, that has killed and maimed UN staff and attacked UN headquarters and shelters, and is openly attempting to destroy a UN agency, and continuously inciting against the UN, and that now has added attacking UN peacekeepers to the list, such a member has nothing to do among us and has already surrendered its membership by violating every single obligation and commitment that comes with it. We are not powerless. This Council is not powerless. These United Nations are not powerless. The international community is not powerless. To the brutal use of force, we must respond with the full force of the law. To the brutal use of force, we must respond with the full force of the law. Hundreds of thousands of lives hang in the balance. The future of our region hangs in the balance. The future of our international law-based order hangs in the balance. The safety of millions of civilians in the region hangs in the balance. Regional and international peace and security hang in the balance. This is worth fighting for. Don't surrender to the fire. Don't surrender to the arsonist. It is time to fight back, or the whole region will go up in flames. Humanity must prevail over this inhumanity. And for the record, let me state once again, we are for the protection of all civilians and against harming any civilian. But Palestinian civilians are not less civilian, and their lives are not less worthy of protection. We want a Middle East where all states live in peace and security, but that must include the Palestinian state. We want peace, but the only path to peace is through freedom for the Palestinian people and respect for their right to self-determination. We are for respect for international law by all and for the benefit of all. Stop the genocide. Stop the genocide. End this occupation-made famine and humanitarian crisis. Let people return to where their homes once stood and their communities once lived, to resume their lives and rebuild what can be, to mourn and try to restore life. Free prisoners and hostages. Let families reunite in life and not death, and let them try to the extent possible to heal. Help us chart a path away from occupation and wars. Help us achieve freedom, justice, and peace, so these horrors can never occur again. Never again. It is time to act. Anything else is complicity and surrender. The Palestinian people enduring hell did not surrender. Neither should you. Thank you, Madam President.
Je remercie le...
I thank the permanent observer of the Observer State of Palestine for their statement. I give the floor to the representative of Israel.
Thank you, Madam President. Since the Holocaust. For 376 days, 101 human beings, men, women, children, elderly, have been tormented by Hamas terrorists in their terror dungeons. Over the weekend, another brutal assault struck Israel. A Hezbollah drone attacked the northern city of